Steering wheel, somebody tell him to give it to me.
There's something loose between my legs.
I don't know. Let go!
I'm heavier than a freaking boat.
Nothing he's going to say can make that any better.
No more radio for the rest of the race.
I'm going home.
Hello and welcome to DRS FC, an F1 podcast by soccer nerds. I am a soccer nerd. My name is Andre Carlisle, and I am here with Ann soccer nerd, Meg. Meg, how are you?
I feel like a VIP today, getting to be the only one with Andre on the podcast. And you know what? We're going into a weekend full of VIPs, so I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's just the VIP experience. We're being as exclusionary as Monaco is. We only had room for one. Sorry to everybody else. Meg won. I don't know what the unit, the currency was, what the payment was, but we've decided that Meg wins. She gets to be on the Monaco pod and nobody else does, because that's how Monaco rolls.
I cashed in all my MLS GAM and TAM cash, and I said, let me come on that podcast, boys.
Your GAM, your TAM, your Berman bucks, everything. Hell yeah. gotta spend them all before they go away. So I'm told. All right. We are previewing the Monaco Grand Prix, Circuit de Monaco, which is just a track around the streets of Monaco. It is probably a race that you know about. If you know nothing about racing, you probably heard of it. You've probably even seen clips of it. It is one of the most iconic races in motorsport. We will talk about maybe not actually races, maybe just qualifying. We'll get into it. But let's talk about the track really quickly. As I mentioned, it is a street circuit. It is super narrow. And it is super short, 3.337 kilometers. That's 2.07 miles. Not long at all, which means they're going to be doing a lot of laps. 78 laps will complete the race. And the race lap record is from Lewis Hamilton in 2021, 1 minute, 12 seconds, or 112.909 seconds. So just under 113, quite blistering fast. And also maybe that'll be broken. Maybe. Anyway, Meg, history.
So Monaco is kind of seen as like the granddaddy of them all, if you're going to make a college football analogy. It's opened the track in 1929, but the first modern Grand Prix was until 1950. It is part of the Racing Triple Crown, which nobody has done in a long time. Our boy Fernando Alonso has two of the three. The only one he doesn't have is Indy 500. So he is the most likely to get it in modern racing, but still hasn't. He's not racing Indy 500 this year. So we still got a little bit of time. If you ever want to have just some like peaceful background content, there are some videos of old Monaco races from the 50s and 60s when they had tiny little cars. And we'll talk about why that's cool in a second. And it's just like very aesthetic and makes you feel like you're in a French New Wave movie from the 60s. Throw on some jazz and you can have a pretty dang good night on YouTube.
Nice. I like the vibe you just said. That's lovely.
I was going to say readers. You're not readers. Listeners. What you don't know is that I'm wearing a very striped shirt today, and someone asked me, I was wearing red lipstick, and someone asked me if I was pretending to be French today. And I like to believe that I knew that I was going to be talking about Monaco.
Again, this is how you earn the VIP experience of the Monaco podcast. There it is.
All right, Andre, what happened last year, though?
Last year, well, Drive to Survive, if you watch that, did a whole episode on it. It was the Charles Leclerc episode. It was the Exercising of Demons. I forget, what was that episode actually called? Wasn't it like the Curse of Monaco or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was called like Le Curse of Monaco or something.
Yeah,
it was...
Yeah. Yeah, they nailed
extra
it.
Extra pointed.
Right. They nailed it. Who came in second, though? Oscar Piastri. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. It was actually funny because even seeing how they edit it in Drive to Survive, you see like a McLaren behind. They don't really note. I don't believe they actually note that it is Oscar, but you see a McLaren behind. But Leclerc won the race by like 7 seconds. So it's not like he was that close.
That was also the race where Oscar pretended he was Charles's sibling, where he was like, I'm like, this is also one of my home races or whatever, which I think is extra adorable when you think about him coming in second and being like, yeah, you get it, brother. That's your race win. I'll be here. Don't worry.
I'm here for it. Just take whatever vibe you need to do. I'm here for it. That was Oscar's just a funny dude to me. He just is. Carlos Sainz. So it was a big weekend for Ferrari. He came in third last year. Lando was fourth. George was fifth. Max was sixth, and Lewis was seventh. That race, which I think will lead us into kind of a likes and dislikes portion of this, because there has been a rule instituted, which may be a bit of a reaction to what happened last year. DNFs last year were Esteban Ocon, Checo Perez, Hulkenberg, and Magnussen. Last year, it was a crash on, what was it, the very first lap?
Yes. Yeah, it was like
And-
literally almost like the second corner, I think. It was very early on.
Yeah, it was like so much debris as well, like was shattered all over the track. Again, this is a very, 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 very narrow, especially with these big ass cars. It's a very narrow circuit. So there was a lot of cleanup to do. People did their pit stop, and then it was kind of a procession. It was just all the cars chasing each other around the track, managing their tires, so not really pushing, not going too fast. And that was kind of like the exaggerated version of what Monaco has kind of turned into with these spec of cars. And so there's a change this year, Meg, a massive change.
There is. So this year they have instituted kind of a forced strategy change. So they are now requiring, instead of doing one pit stop, which has been the requirement for a long time, that you have to do 2 pit stops. What does this mean practically? It means that nobody has any data on what 2 pit stops look like. It means that there might be some different tire choices if you know that you're going to have to do 2 pit stops and you can run your tires for less. It might mean that qualifying looks a little different if they're trying to save tires. So I think the headline from this weekend is going to be, what did the strategists think? Because they are kind of holding this race in their hands on if it's going to be entertaining or if it's going to be Monaco qualifying and, oh yeah, Sunday something happened.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's interesting. Like normally the only mandate you have which forces a pit stop in a normal dry, Grand Prix is the fact that you have to use 2 different tire compounds. Well, they're not really changing that rule. They're just saying you have to pit twice. So you could technically put on the same tire compound as long as you switch at least once during the race. So this is what's also going to be fascinating. And I don't know. I almost kind of want somebody to make a mockery of this, only because I don't know how I feel about, like, we have to spice up the race somehow. It almost feels like a gimmick. And I don't know if I love the fact that if Monaco, which is this prestigious race, needs a gimmick, then you might need to have more serious discussions. I don't know, Meg. I don't know how you feel about that, but I like, this might turn out to be fun, but also I'm like, this feels a little bit strange.
Yeah, I think it's not ideal that this is the only race you do it at, because that sort of pins the tail on the donkey of like what's going on, that it's only this race. For those of you that don't know, it's been contentious on whether they should renew the contract for Monaco. There's a variety of issues with Monaco. It's super narrow. The walls are really close, which you would think would make it really fun. And in some ways it does, and we can talk about that in a second. But the problem is the modern F1 car is so wide. That's why I was mentioning earlier on that older film, you can see small cars. They can pass each other. They can take up the road. There is some danger. The way that Monaco's races have functioned for at least the last decade is that the cars are too wide to pass each other. So really it's more of driver versus their own mental health, to be honest. Like, can they make it through the track without crashing into each other, and can they survive qualifying and pushing themselves so close to crashing? And that's entertaining, but it means the race product itself isn't really interesting if it's just going to be a procession. And so it's a bummer that they have to do that. On the other hand, I'm like, do I want to watch a boring race, or am I interested in them at least trying something? I guess I'm interested in them trying something. I mean, the real answer is I wish they'd make the cars smaller, because I think that not only here, but also basically any street track would make it way better. But the teams are always going to want Monaco. It's where they bring their VIPs. It's where the businesses involved with F1 bring their VIPs. And so for money reasons, Monaco's going to stick around. Also, just like aesthetically, it's really pretty. We'll talk in a little bit about what to watch for, but mine is more aesthetics than racing. And so for those reasons, I think they want the race to come around. I appreciate them trying to modernize it. I just don't know that this is the step. I'm trying to think of who it was. It might have been Briatore, but there was always this like apocryphal quote of like, maybe we just take the fire hoses out at Monaco and just make it as wet as possible. And like, that's not, that's really influencing the race, but like they have to do
That sounds like a
something.
Briatore thing.
I can't remember if it was him or Eddie Jordan. It's one of the like very outrageous people in F1 that we love for what they give us. But, they have to do something. And so I guess I appreciate them doing something. I will say the other thing that I didn't mention as to why Monaco is a little controversial to a lot of F1 fans is Monaco is the only race that's produced by the race folks. So like the actual TV production, which is how we got the very funny Lance Stroll crashing image a couple years ago when there was like actual racing action, and instead they were like, let's just show Lance Stroll crashing into a wall. They do not have the best production, and so I kind of assumed the production would be the first thing that would go, but if they're willing to try other things to hold on to production, I guess they can do that.
Yeah, I think all that is good explanation about why they've done this with this, mandatory two-stop. I also think the track, as mentioned, is short, so you don't really get so much distance between the cars. So it's really hard to do like an undercut where you like pit early and then you push those tires and try to make up some time until another car pits, or it's hard to get like a real true like tire offset because there's only one DRS zone, and so. It's really hard to have the tire offset and the DRS to pass in that one area with the DRS, and then the rest of the track is just a lot of tight, twisty turns, not a lot of straights, not a lot of turns with a lot of room to fit two cars by as well. So I think that's also part of the problem. Is it's not just the fact that it's narrow; it's also a short track, which limits a lot of the strategy without having to mandate like a second stop. So I do think it's going to be interesting, like you said, to see how the strategists do it. I've heard some people say like if you get qualifying wrong and you're like in the like toward the bottom end of the grid, you might as well just pit on your first 2 laps and then just see if you can keep your tires longer, because everybody else is going to have to pit twice, and that. So nobody's going to be able to just do a one pit stop. They're going to have to do it. And the penalties, it's a standard penalty. But given how narrow this track is and how a red flag could end a race early, if you don't do your second stop, 30-second grid penalty.
Right. And you're done. It's DNFing essentially.
Yeah. That's a wrap for you.
I think it'll be interesting to see kind of what, like you said, that like it could cause people to do some like real cray-cray strategies. The same with like if you just bail on like it's clear that you're not going to get out of Q2, do you just not run another lap and just save the tires? Because sometimes that'll happen where people are just like, we're declining to participate at this point because we know we don't have the numbers. We got out of Q1 and it doesn't really matter, but we'd rather save the softs or we'd rather save one of the other tires. So that's kind of interesting. I will say, like, I kind of glibly made the joke about it being drivers versus their own mental health. But truthfully, a lot of the like excitement we have gotten in previous years prior to last year was Charles Leclerc's curse, where it was so clear that this man so badly wanted to win the race that he kept crashing, and that those crashes kind of made those races a little more interesting. There's not really any driver. I mean, I'm sure that Charles wants to win again, and I'm sure all of these drivers, they grew up dreaming of this race. They'd love to win it, but there's not really that kind of pressure on anybody. Maybe the McLaren drivers have pressure on themselves to sort of separate from each other in the driver's standing, but it still doesn't feel like there's a terrible amount of pressure. And so I think that also prevents people from making dumbass decisions. Now, maybe one of the rookies does, right? Like maybe one of them crashes and that sort of causes things to go a little cray-cray. But it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I want to be optimistic about it. I don't want to be like, ugh, this is going to suck. But I can see how it doesn't totally fix the problem.
Yeah, and I think you're right in terms of the storyline of it. Like Leclerc got the win, and I also think like if you've listened to him like recently since he's been in Monaco, he like him after Imola, him and Lewis Hamilton have been like on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. Like Lewis is feeling encouraged. He's like, "All right, this was so much better. The strategy is there. The race pace looks there. We just get the qualifying right." And Leclerc, they ask him like, "Do you think you can maybe pull a miracle out and like do it again?" And he just said no. It's just like it's not happening. So like he's
Buddy
not feeling
is
great.
happy to wear his seersucker hat and hang out with his girlfriend at home and have all his friends just cheer him on with their great like underrated thing to watch for. This isn't our official what to watch for. Charles's friends always make a big poster for him, and so it's a different one every year. So check out the like Vamos Charlie. I think last year it said Charlie, and everybody is like, "Love for Charles." Is that what they call him? And it's very cute. It's at one of their apartments that like overlooks the track, and it's all his friends from growing up. And they always, if you're Instagram inclined, they always do like lots of pictures from it. And basically, it's just like, can you imagine how cool it would be for your childhood best friend to be like the guy? That would be incredible. And to watch it from your balcony, I don't know. I just think that'd be rad as hell.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like again, I think I said it in our Drive to Survive review. Is it like they do a very good job of humanizing Charles Leclerc, and I think part of that is just the tragedy in his life and like in the background of the tragic moments that kind of give him that reality. But when you think of somebody who grew up in Monaco, you're like, okay, I can't relate to this person at all. but you actually can because he's actually a pretty down to earth person, and given what he's been through to get to where he is, you also say like, yeah, you may have had some, help in terms of, the wealth or whatever, your dad being a driver, but there's also plenty of tragedy in the background, which does like, you can't discount that as well. So I think they did a good job in that episode.
If you want some real sad boy hours, Charles's
Yeah.
older half brother published an article earlier this week. It was kind of like a what is that website where the athletes Players Tribune. I was like,
Players
it's
Tribune,
it's name plus media entity. It's similar to a Players Tribune article, except obviously he's not a player. So, but he wrote kind of about Charles' background and kind of disclosed some stuff that even fans weren't aware of that kind of had gone down, including Charles's mom having breast cancer while his dad was in a coma and about to pass away. And so, he has gone through a lot. It's cool that they've humanized him. Now the monkey is off his back, so that kind of eliminates that sort of experience. So we'll see. I haven't looked at the weather, but I assume it's going to be like perfectly sunny and beautiful because it almost always is. And you know what? I hope everyone has fun partying. I guess that's kind of my like. I hope everyone scores some points. I hope everyone does well.
Fair enough. And yeah, I think I looked at the weather earlier in the week and there was a threat of rain on Saturday for qualifying, but then that has completely gone away. So I think it's going to be fine. Especially the 2 days that are most important. Okay, let's take a break and get to kind of the what to watch. There's actually a few things we do want to talk about, the race versus qualifying, because actually there is a big dichotomy there and it's important to talk about it. But then there's other things to talk about, including Ferrari and beautiful people on yachts. All right, welcome back. We are going to talk to or give you some things to watch in this race. Again, I sound like I'm a little bit more down on it than Meg is, but I appreciate the optimism in terms of what they've been trying to do or what they think they're going to do to try and spice up the race. But I'll tell you the thing that I am excited for, Meg, is qualifying. This is always one of the most fun, probably the best qualifying session maybe in all of motorsport, just because it's like, yes, that's where you get like the classic F1 car going through the streets of Monaco as fast as it can. The walls are close. The drivers have to be like fully committed, very brave, skimming those walls. I like the thing we keep seeing on broadcast where they show you how many centimeters away from a wall a car was. Yeah,
that's when I'm pro fun. AWS. I hate all the other dumb AWS facts they give us, but when they give us centimeters from the wall, I'm like, ooh, I'm in.
Yeah, that is very fun. And I also like when you see it like doing the countdown as they get closer to the wall and then they hit the wall and it's like 0.
Yeah.
So, guess they hit it.
It's target locked.
Right. But I think like the thing with Monaco that is so fascinating, and this is, again, onboard cameras are probably the best thing to do if you're going to go to YouTube. I know I usually say play video games, but I still think that you only get it when you're kind of riding along with a driver who, like a human being who has to be bold and brave to go through the corners the way that you need to post a good time, because you can be like, Monaco can tear your car apart real quick. You can hit a wall. You don't have to even do much. You can just skim one of those guardrails and it'll just pop your tire right off and then you're done. So like, it is fascinating, but when they get it right and you just see it's beautiful. Honestly, it's beautiful. So I'm like so here for Saturday, not so much for Sunday. How are you feeling?
Loyal listeners, if you want to get your significant other or friends into F1 racing, show them Monaco qualifying. Everybody's hearts are in their throats. It's beautiful. We'll talk in a second about the other things you can be looking for. But it is just so gorgeous. And if you are at all a person who likes cars, the cars look incredible. They're almost always doing some sort of cool livery. And so Ferrari will be in white, which will be kind of interesting. And so it's just a very cool thing. And then just tell them that was the race and that they don't have to watch Sunday, so that you can keep them locked in and bring them back, I don't know, for Spa or something else very gorgeous.
I mean, quite honestly, I hate to look ahead already, because I do think Monaco is an important weekend in F1. And again, like I said, the qualifying kind of makes up for whatever the race ends up becoming. The qualifying is so beautiful that I think it is fine to focus on that. But the track that I like is next. I really like the Spain, the Barcelona track. I really love that track. So I'm excited about that one.
And I will say, a thing to watch out for is that if chaos starts happening, chaos begets chaos here. You can have somebody take out a number one driver real quick. And so this is the track that it is most you're most likely to win from pole from this track. But also, if one car starts crashing, you can end up with a bizarre winner at Monaco. Famously, there have been a lot of random people who have won Monaco and never won any other F1 race, because it's just kind of they were the last car standing. And so if we start to get a chaotic Sunday, it can be really interesting and it can be really meaningful for teams who are searching for points and searching for parity to kind of take advantage of the situation.
You know what? I think you did a good job in selling me there, because y'all know one of the things that I love is a weird podium. So I think a 2-stop plus the process, this is our best chance, at least so far this year. I mean, Australia was a little bit weird because of the weather. But that was the first race of the season and nobody really knew what anybody's car was really going to do. But this is probably the best chance so far this season that we have for a weird podium. So I might actually be into the race on Sunday now that you mention it.
Andre, what else are you into about Monaco? What else are you looking for?
Well, I have one thing I want to note real quick before I kind of give what I'm looking forward to watching is Donald mentioned here the C6 tires. They were trialed in Imola, and the one complaint we heard about those tires is they slid around a lot. Imola is a much faster track than Monaco, but if those tires slide with these walls,
chaos.
Yeah. Plus, we still have rookies and a very crash happy Colapinto back in a car. So
yeah. The other thing I guess I will say is Monaco is so shortened. The practices are so much more compressed that if you screw up in a practice, they may not be able to get your car ready to go, which is famously what happened to Charles Leclerc. He crashed after coming on pole position and then crashed into a wall and they couldn't fix his car. So that could also be a thing that kind of shakes things up, is that even if you did not make a huge mistake, there might not be enough time for them to fix your car before the race. That could lead to you starting from the pit lane or not starting at all. And so that is also a way that chaos begets chaos occasionally. God bless the mechanics. It's going to be a long weekend for them.
Seriously. Yeah. Seriously. I also think that at Imola, we were never going to see the C6 tire, the super soft tire, in a race. But there's a potential that we might see it. I mean, I don't know why a team would, but if you have to do 2 pit stops and the C6 was never used except for Imola, what they're using as the medium tire was the soft last year. So we actually could see some very fast, if drivers are incentivized to actually attack the track more frequently than what we saw certainly last year, that could make things interesting. And then, of course, crashy crashes could happen. Of course, when we say crash, we mean safe crash. We don't want anybody
Right.
hurt.
We're not
but
wishing
still.
ill will on anybody.
Right.
I mean, the other thing somebody could do, and like, again, this is not me with a strategist brain, so the strategist may be like, Megan, what the hell are you talking about? But like, if you know somebody is not going to do well based on where they qualified, you could throw them out on C6 tires just to get more data. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, Monaco's not super applicable to a lot of other tracks, but they have no data on the C6 tires. They only have
Yeah.
Imola, and nobody ran them really for longer than qualifying. Be an
Yeah.
easy way to get data potentially. But on the flip side, that means those people are also sliding everywhere.
Yeah, that's the concern. Okay, so what am I going to be like watching for this weekend? I'm interested in Ferrari. I think that what I've been hearing about their car is that it's not exactly like not to really expect a massive turnaround because of the things that it's not good at. Like it was good at slow speed corners last year, not so much this year. Monaco is basically slow speed corners. That's what you got around the track. And so I don't think you'll be able to see any massive improvement, but who knows? Like you said, they have been decent with some of their strategy calls. And in some ways they've been very good with their strategy calls, which is a wild thing to say about Ferrari. But I think there's a potential there. You know, the race pace looks good as well. So if they get their, pit stops right, like they have been doing, or they get their strategy calls right, as well as maybe a safety car, helps them out or whatever. You really never know what can happen, but this can become maybe like a catalyst for a turnaround for Ferrari. Now, of course, as we said, Monaco is such a unique track. I don't know, like if you perform well here, can you extrapolate that towards any other track throughout the calendar? No, you cannot. But still, it would be good for Ferrari, who's been struggling for a while, basically the entire season, to have some sort of good news. And having said that, I'm sure they will end up qualifying 16th and 17th.
Oh, ye of little faith. No, I'm with you. I think, unfortunately, this is the doldrum time for Ferrari, which does not mean that they can't have some significant results. And I am actually kind of hopeful for Barcelona, just based on how that track is set up, that maybe that can be a good one for them. And so if they could do well this weekend going into that would be great. But yeah, I think it could be a difficult struggle. Lewis obviously has the fastest lap time ever at Monaco, but even when he was with Mercedes, Nico Rosberg was like way more of a Monaco guy than Lewis ever was. So I don't think it's really, I mean, he's never going to say this, but I don't know that it's like one of his favorite tracks, just because it doesn't seem like it's really like an enjoyable race for him. But I would love to see them both do well. Obviously I want to cry over Charles Leclerc again. When I tell you, friends, if you haven't watched that Drive to Survive episode, it will have you into, even if you're not a Charles Leclerc fan, like I don't know how you could listen to the race call and not like, he just nailed it. Shout out to Alex Jax. He just like killed exactly what the radio call should be. And it's just like, and I have goosebumps thinking about it.
No, it was really good. I recommend that episode as well. And I think for Ferrari though, the unfortunate thing is that what did Lewis say? What was it at Miami? Like, why don't you have a tea break while you're at it? I'm afraid they have a tea break because they know their problem is their suspension, but they said they're not going to have an upgrade to that until Silverstone. So okay,
but then they could kill it. You never know.
Maybe.
Or you know what? The McLarens are fighting each other, because the girls be fighting, and they take out Max, and Ferrari voom voom away.
I feel like if that happens, it will be a team like Williams or Aston Martin that gets the advantage somehow.
Please. And while we're thinking about unattainable things, what I am telling you to watch at Monaco is watch those damn beautiful people on yachts, friends. There are going to be so many gratuitous shots of people with the most ostentatious wealth that you will never be able to obtain. And like, eat the rich. I'm right there with you.
Correct.
I don't know any other slogans. Pull out the guillotine. That's very French, right? Yeah.
Yes,
they're big fans of the guillotine, the French, famously. Wish that was one of the things they gave us instead of the Statue of Liberty, but I digress. There is nothing cooler than like the Monaco harbor when they come around out of the tunnel and just seeing like all these yachts and just imagining yourself. I will digress for just a second. Andre and I were talking before this. During COVID, my roommate and I were watching Drive to Survive, and he was like, you know what? I wonder how expensive it is to go to Monaco. And we spent 2 days like pricing out our dream Monaco trip. And I want to tell you, it is expensive, but it is not as expensive as you would think.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, Sky Sports did like a cheap Monaco versus expensive Monaco. I think it was Natalie and Ted. Ted had the cheap Monaco, which is kind of a bummer for him. And Natalie had the like all out on a yacht Monaco, and they priced it out. And it's a really fun little video just for like how you could do Monaco on the cheap, how you could do Monaco at full price. And so I, for one, have sentimentality for Monaco because I'm like, I too would like to be a rich person with $1 million yacht sitting on my hot tub watching handsome men go vroom. That is the dream.
Yeah, it is. I feel like the prestige of Monaco is so kind of amazing. It's almost like it's a different world. It's a completely different world. I have no knowledge or access to any part of that world. And I was telling Meg before, like, that's great to know that Monaco isn't like as expensive as you would think. Like, you don't need like $20,000 to go. You might be able to get away with 5,000 or 6,000. Still a lot of money, but
Right.
I think, if you're a soccer person and you travel the world, you might end up spending that anyway, going to certain tournaments or certain countries as well. So it's not terrible. My problem is I feel like going into Monaco or stepping foot inside of Monaco is almost like stepping into like a Rolex store. You're not supposed to be there, and security will be watching you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real, like, if Andre and I walk in, it's a real Pretty Woman situation. We are being bullied back out of the store.
Yeah.
We're coming back and saying, "Damn it, I want everything." I will say for soccer fans, it's also kind of fun because there's normally a couple of soccer players that get invited by the teams if they're not in Champions League, because most places, I guess, Premier League season is still going. Often it's not at this point.
Yeah.
But there's probably from other leagues, there'll probably be some La Liga friends. There'll probably be some Bundesliga friends. And so it's kind of a fun to like see some soccer players kind of living their life up, or some recently retired. I know they had Lacazette last year with Ferrari. So that was kind of fun. As an Arsenal fan, former guy that I used to like. So that can be kind of a fun little crossover, DRS crossover.
Yeah, that should be fun. And like I said, it is a great thing to kind of watch the cars on the track. But then, just kind of marveling at the ostentatiousness of Monaco is also a thing. I am with you in terms of nobody should, like, billionaires should, like, are a moral failing. They shouldn't exist in the world. But you see people living a life, and you're like, man, that probably does look nice.
Yeah,
I think it would be great.
Like to be on the big yacht in the beautiful waters without the crushing feeling of climate change. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, I too would like to not feel things
Right, exactly.
so deeply.
How much money do we need to not feel? It turns out to be a lot, and you will see a lot of people with a lot of money with no care in the world. So, okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, so there's plenty to watch for, including that, making yourself sad as you see a lot of rich people do things that you can't do. All right, let's take a quick break and get into our podium predictions, our constructor scrap predictions, and our zoomy and gloomy boy. And of course, I will let y'all know when and where to watch all the action this upcoming weekend at Monaco. All right, here we go. Prediction time. I've been getting my ass kicked in predictions, I'm not gonna lie.
Can I say something funny?
Yes,
the
you can.
disrespect George Russell is getting, because
really
that
is.
man has come in third in like every single race, and nobody on DRSFC ever picks him for third. Not a single one of us. I'm sorry, George Russell. I hope you enjoy flexing in your Tommy Hilfiger suit this weekend.
Imola was the first race that he didn't finish within the top 5, and he's been on the podium a number of times. I think at some point they said he's been on the podium as much as Lando Norris, which is hilarious. And like, we just act like that man doesn't exist. It's like, we don't believe you. You need more people, and it's fine. But all right, let's do our podium predictions first. Kyle dropped his in. He's not on the pod, but I want to go ahead and read what his are. He's got Oscar winning the race. He's got Max second, and he's got Lewis Hamilton third. Interesting. Meg, who you got?
This is pure wish fulfillment. I just want people to know that I know I'm Delulu. I said Leclerc, Oscar, Max. I will say, if I had gone full wish fulfillment, it would have been Leclerc, Oscar, Alex Albon, because this is like the race where Williams, if something's going to go, it could break right for them. If the chaos grenade goes boom. I, I don't really want Max anywhere near a podium, but it does feel like he's won this like 2 or 3 times now. So it's definitely a race he's experienced with. He is not one to get his nerves. I will like to give Max the smallest amount of props. He does not ever seem truly rattled by any, like he obviously is like a grumpy gills and like sassy on the on comms, but like he's never really seems rattled by a course. He never seems to be like too in his head by that. And so Monaco is kind of a good spot for that. I don't think Lando's going to do well because I do think between Lando and Oscar, Oscar seems to not think about that sounds so bad. He is a smart man, but like he does not seem to have feelings about anything. He's just kind of like, I show up, I do my job, I go home. Whereas Lando, as we've discussed many a time on DRSFC, does seem to get a little nervy about things.
That is true. And despite that, I've got Lando winning. I think at some point,
I don't even know who you are anymore.
I think at some point he just has to lean into who he is. And when she does that, he'll be fine. And this could be a thing that gets his confidence back because it's really just been qualifying. The race, he's done well to recover. He finished ahead of Oscar at Imola. I think it's just getting the qualifying right now. Is it a smart thing to bet on somebody who's been struggling with qualifying to get their qualifying right at Monaco? Probably not. So don't listen to me if it comes to betting advice, but I'm going for it. I've got Oscar second. I've got Max third.
I want y'all to know that earlier today in our group chat, Andre said, I need him to lean into his F-boy. And I think he is based on his outfit today. So maybe F-boy energy replaces lack of dog. Maybe those are inverse thing. I don't know. I feel like if you have F-boy energy, you often have dog, but maybe that's like a square rectangle situation. Yeah,
you have undeserved dog, but in some cases it can still work out in your favor. I think that's the definition of fuckboy energy and dog, because there's a lot, but it's not earned, but it's fine if it gets the job done. And I'm kind of hoping that Lando just leans into that because I think it's really his best chance when he has to compete against people like Max and now Oscar.
I'm trying to think of what soccer player has the most fuckboy energy that is like unearned.
I mean,
Cole Palmer?
Mad at me, but I was well. Yeah, I mean, given the way his season started and then went towards the end, but maybe that. I mean, mine is always going to be Cristiano Ronaldo. I know he was very good. But
for sure. I could go on a whole explanation about how men think that that's what women want, and that's the actual antithesis of what women want, and that a lot of men need to examine their feelings about other men when they talk about him. But that's a whole separate podcast than this one, and we are not going to go there. Instead, we're going to talk about who I think is going to get the most points. I said Ferrari because I'm delusional, but I think actually, like I think it's likely Williams does really well. If we can't pick McLaren, I think that Carlos is really good at Monaco, and I do think that Alex has done pretty well when he's had a car, right? Like when he doesn't have a car to qualify, he's just kind of screwed. But if the Williams appears to be good at qualifying, or at least decent, I think he can kind of show more of his racecraft because he's a pretty calm, cool, collected cucumber. Like Alex does not really crash on his own. He's normally only crashing when he's like clipped or pushed by somebody else.
Yeah. And did you say who you predict to have the least points?
Least is Haas. Womp womp. I know. I'm sorry. Esteban, you're almost in France. I hope you have a good time, buddy. I will say vindication for Esteban. We didn't get to really talk about this, or at least I haven't talked about it. But Homeboy got on. Was it his Instagram post? I think it was his Instagram post saying like, Jack, like, really care about you, man. Let me give you a hug. And it's clear that the vibes are bad at Alpine, and we thought maybe they were Esteban's fault, but no, it seems like the vibes are really just bad at Alpine, and it's nice that a slightly older driver is kind of giving that sort of like, it's not your fault, dude, you're still good, to Jack.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate that. I like to see that from some of the drivers as well, especially some that have been through some tough times. Kyle has the exact same prediction as you. Most points he's got Ferrari, least points he has Haas. So both of y'all not believing in Haas, you're dead to me. It's fine.
Whatever, you're
I'm-
about to piss off Ebony.
I sure am, because I've got Ferrari having the most points. I think we're all just being delusional about Ferrari at this point because we just are hoping the good vibes carry over. At least one side of the garage has good vibes. And the least, I'm saying Alpine, partly because Franco Colapinto crashed at Imola and things didn't go well. And even in the race, Pierre Gasly got pushed off the track and they did not score any points at Imola as well. So I don't know if they're going to do well here. Okay. We're to our Zoomy and Gloomy Boy awards. We predict the Zoomy Boy, who's basically not the winner, but this is who's going to have like a really solid weekend, a good weekend across the board. So that's, practice, that's qualifying, that's the race. Doesn't really matter where the team is, but a certain driver, any driver can have a good weekend. And likewise, any driver can have a bad weekend. That is our Gloomy Boy. So Kyle is predicting Nico Hulkenberg to be a
I know.
Zoomy
I
Boy.
just read this and I was like, did he mix up like the Zoomies and Gloomies? Like what?
He might have, because quite honestly, he predicted Ferrari to have the most points, and his Gloomy Boy is Charles. So
Wait, I didn't even think about that. Kyle, write in, let us know.
friend, I understand you couldn't do the podcast. I appreciate you, writing some things in, but this does not make any sense. And also, I'm not going to correct it for you. It's written. I'm going to leave it exactly as it is. And so hopefully Nico has a great weekend. Let's see what happens.
Also, he wrote Hulk, and so my brain has just been picturing Mark Ruffalo's Hulk going really fast, which is like not what he was all about, from what I understand. So
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Meg, who are you predicting Zoomy and Gloomy?
these are like existential Zoomy and Gloomies. Charles Leclerc, because he beat the curse and now he just gets to enjoy having won Monaco for the rest of his life. And even if he's in his feels,
Fair.
he just gets to know he won it and he did it. And he gets to be home for a weekend and have his mom cut his hair. And like, ooh, whomst among us doesn't want that? I'm hoping it's gloomy for Monaco haters. We've had a lot of Monaco hate for a while. I understand it. I too am frustrated. I'm hopeful that them trying something new changes things. Maybe it's not the solution forever, but if it makes it slightly more interesting, they could continue to iterate and see what they can figure out.
That is fair, and it also feels very much directed at me. But that's
No!
fine.
No, I'm thinking more of if any of you guys listen to the P1 podcast, like famously Matt, one of their co-hosts, is just like very anti-Monaco, and so the other co-host is a Ferrari fan, so he has been like invested in Charles. He's specifically a Charles and Ferrari fan, and so they've had like an ongoing bit on their podcast for a while about it becoming better. But it's true, like a lot of like grumpy F1 fans I feel like are like meh, Monaco, and you know what, sometimes you just have to enjoy the spoils of capitalism and do some wish fulfillment, and it's as close to the Hunger Games capital as we can get, to be honest. And we don't want the other side of the Hunger Games, but like
True.
if I could be rich and have a yacht, I would do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree, and I was just teasing you, but I do know that like I've listened to a number of Monaco previews, and there's at least one host on every preview who hates this race. So I understand, and I'm with you. And it would be interesting to see this absolutely work. But also, like I said, I do hope that the two-stop also gets clowned in a particular way with somebody just pitting twice on the first 2 laps. It would be hilarious. My Zoomy boy, I'm predicting Lewis. I didn't have him on the podium, and honestly, I think like there was that whole thing of like, he's so happy as a Ferrari driver and in fourth place, like this doesn't bode well. But I think from his perspective, you see that like he said the car felt mega. So like if the car is feeling better, then it's just a matter of getting the qualifying right, which is something obviously they still need to do. But if they can, then there are good performances in that car. But again, the big updates to the car aren't coming for another few races, maybe. So we'll see what happens. Gloomy boy, I've got Liam Lawson. Remember him? Yeah. He's having a rough one. Yeah.
That's all I got.
He's having a rough run. Ever since going to Racing Bulls, it is not like that's helped him a lot either. Hajar has beaten him. I think he's like 7-0 in races against him. And it has not been great. So again, I say, I know I'm an advocate of talking shit when you have the opportunity to talk shit, but sometimes you can talk a little bit too much shit. And I think Liam Lawson might have done that because it's not looking like he's making a great case for him to have a second full season in F1. Just saying. He's young. It's early. We'll see, but things don't look great. All right. Anything else to say, Meg, before I let people know when to watch what?
Enjoy your weekends, friends. It's a long one if you're in the United States. And may we all overthrow the billionaires, but not before they give me a yacht.
Fair enough. We'll just take one. That'll be part of it. We'll just take a yacht.
Listen, they keep saying they're taking all these Russian yachts, and I want to know, where are they going? Are they giving them to the orcas? Are they giving them to our politicians? I think me and the orcas could come to a deal. I would be a nice yacht owner, orcas. And that's today's tangent. If you're wondering what the wild tangent of the day was, that's it. And also, I can confirm there are ducks in Monaco.
Nope, there it is. I was waiting for that. That's very important. And yeah, shout out to the orcas doing the Lord's work. All right, free practice 1 is Friday. It's 7:25 a.m. That's on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes. Free practice 2 is Friday at 10:55 a.m. ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes as well. Free practice 3 Saturday at 6:25 a.m. Very early. Again, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes. Qualifying, like I said, if you're going to watch any qualifying session this year, make it this one, 9:55 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. That's on the big ESPN at 9:55. They know.
And you know what's great about that? You can watch that, and then you can watch the Arsenal women win their second Champions League. Andre, if you could see Andre's face right now, he's so mad.
Why did you do that to me? Why did you do that to me? Okay. Anyway, watch qualifying for Monaco at 9:55 a.m. on ESPN. It's also on ESPN Deportes, and the Grand Prix is 8:55 a.m. on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes on Sunday. There is one replay Sunday at 7 p.m. on ESPN News. That is it. That's your Monaco preview. Of course, we'll be back after the race to do a review, and then it's on to Spain for one of my favorite tracks. I'm really excited to talk about this one. And also, we do have the Flexi Wing technical directive is ending, like no more Flexi Wing nonsense at Spain. So there's a lot to talk about for the next race as well. We will talk all about it in the preview and, of course, review the race as well. Subscribe, 5 stars. They're free. Give them to us. Thank you very much. We're out of here. Vroom, vroom.
Vroom, vroom.